In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I migrate a site within WordPress. Basically, what I have set up is a test site on testsite.clockworkwp.com, and this is going to be fun because I don't necessarily have to show you guys, or I don't have to worry about the IP address not being exposed and stuff like that, because by the time this video makes it on YouTube, the server will be shut down. I'm getting rid of a couple servers. I upgraded some from some, I don't know what version of Ubuntu server, 18.04, upgraded them to 22.04. So I just saw this as a good opportunity to set up a how I do a migration. So let me explain what we have here. What I have set up, if I've spun up a test site with default WordPress. So WordPress is installed and it has a database. To be honest, I don't even know what the username and password is when I set it up, because I'm about to blow that up. I'm going to take a copy of aaronryman.com and I'm going to move that over and put it on testsite.clockworkwp.com. So let me push some magical buttons here. All right, so what we've got here is, this is the test site at ClockworkWP, and it is clockworkwp.com, and it has default 2023 theme and whatnot. And I'm going to SSH into the server. I'm going to grab a copy of the website that I have on Dropbox, and I will show you how to uncompress, or how I uncompress it and import the database and all that stuff. So let's just dive in. So I'm going to SSH into test site using, and this is probably small for you guys. Let me see if I can make this bigger. And can I do a command plus? I can. That should be a little more legible for you guys. We'll do this. All right, so at, and then the IP address is this. So I'm going to hit enter. So I am in the server, and I have basically everything resides in files. So LSLA gives us a list of files, and what I normally do is I just create a test directory. I'm going to call it Z because it's close. I don't know why, but anyway, so I'm going to do a wget, and I'm going to wget that file. And let me go over here to Dropbox and grab that link. And hit paste. And I'm going to change that to 1. So basically, I think this will, by default, Dropbox appends this DL equals 0. I'm going to change it to 1, so it should download the file. All right. It did a wget. I'm going to do an ls. So there's my file. I'm going to move site to Aaron Ryman, or just Aaron Ryman dot, was this a tar? It's a .zip. All right, so basically clear that up, ls, there we go. So I'm going to do a unzip. It's going to wicked fast unzip everything, make everything glorious. And lsla, there's all of our files. Honestly, these Apple files don't need to be there, so I'm going to remove those. I don't need the favicon. Basically, what I need to grab, WordPress, if the site is done properly, which honestly, I don't see it done properly often, but everything should reside within the WP content folder. We already have WordPress and everything, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to WP-content, and I'm going to remove all the .php files, because some of them are from like that object cache and advanced cache could have been a hosting file or something on there. So I'm going to remove those. Those don't need to be there. And I'm going to move the MySQL file because that's super important. I'm going to move that down one directory. So now we should just have... That's kind of interesting. Oh, you know what? The blogs dir here should be empty. Yeah, it's completely empty. So that's not really needed. That's a multi-site thing. Let's look at the mu directory real quick. All right, so this clearly was on WP Engine in here in the mu directory. I'm going to go ahead and do a remove mu because I don't want any of the mu stuff because that was how WP Engine did the hosting. So I'm going to remove that stuff, and we should just have a very clean plugins, themes, and uploads. That's all you really need when you're migrating a site. So I'm going to copy -recursively all of these files, and I'm going to put them in the files -content. I'm going to hit enter. So those files are copied over, and now we need to import the database. Importing the database via command line is super easy. Let me show you what I do here. I do a cat /w. Whoops. So what I'm doing right here, this is a cat command, and what it does is it echoes out or prints a whole directory, or not a directory, sorry. It echoes out a whole file. So if I do that, you see that there is my WP config file, but I don't need all of that information, so I only really need the username and password. One way I do this is I pipe the cat command, and by the way, I'm just hitting the arrow up to get back to where I was. There's a history where I can just hit the arrow key. But so I'm gonna hit Control C, and I'm gonna, okay. So we're gonna cat it, and then we're gonna pipe it to grep. And grep is another command line tool that manipulates the text basically, and I'm going to grep, and I want it to return only the words that have the word define in. So when I hit enter here, see how purdy that is? Basically, it gives us the important and pertinent information here. And so I'm going to do a MySQL command, and I'm going to tell it to use this database because I see right there that the database name is test site. The user is going to be test site. I'm going to do it P, meaning it's going to prompt me for a password. I'm going to do a -v for verbose, so it gives me information and it displays it on the screen as opposed to not on the screen. If it's a massive database that takes 30 minutes to import and you don't do the -v, you're going to sit there and wondering if it's importing the data or if it hung. So -v is important. And then I'm going to tell it to grab or use the mysql.sql file. So let me explain the command one more time here. So we're using MySQL. We're specifying the database to use, that we're going to use this username. We're going to get prompted for a password. It's going to give us, we're doing the verbose flag, so it shows us information, and we're going to import using this file. And when I hit enter here, it's going to prompt me for this password. So I'm going to hit copy. So now I should have that in my paste. So when I hit enter in here, it prompts me. It says enter password. I hit paste. You won't see anything in there. Super important. I did hit paste, but it doesn't echo anything out. So it looks like I didn't type anything, but trust me, I did. I hit paste there, and when I hit enter in here, it's going to run the command. All right, so that is now imported. And one thing I need to change on here that's important is the prefix. So all of the commands, or sorry, all of the tables are prefixed with WP underscore. So I need to VI I'm going to edit the WP config file. And I'm going to go down here to prefix. I could just search for the word prefix, actually. All right, so that was the normal thing. So boom, I write that file. So now WordPress knows to use the tables that start with WP. Now when I do a WP cache flush, that should work. And that should possibly be all I need to do to migrate the site. Am I forgetting anything? You know what? For grins, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna change my view here. Give me just 1 second. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything, and I just don't want you guys to accidentally see anything that. Not that I have anything that's. It's not like Fort Knox or anything, but let's see. All right. I just want to make sure that that's right. I'm going to clear my cache using the GUI just in case. But now when I hit refresh, we should see. So here's aaronryman.com. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do one more thing. So this is aaronryman.com. We should see when I'm done, I should have an exact copy of aaronryman.com. But one thing I need to do here, make sure you guys are still seeing this. I need to do a WP search-replace. Since I'm moving a copy of aaronryman.com to test site, I need to do a search and replace. I'm going to do a search and replace of aaronryman.com with https://testsite.clockworkwp.com. So it did 146 replacements. I'm also going to make sure that I'm getting any www references of that. 0, so that's good. And then I'm also going to do a non-HTTPS one, 0 replaced, and then I'm going to remove the www. So basically, we're making sure that we're getting. It found one. Cool. So I'm just being very thorough and making sure that any references to Aaron Ryman, whether it be www.aaronryman or non-www, and the version with HTTPS and ones without HTTPS. So now I do a WP cache flush again. And then I'm going to use my GUI tool to do that too on my server just to make sure. And now when I refresh, maybe we'll have a copy of aaronryman.com. We do not. Let's figure out why. So if that's test site and I did a copy, I copied the files. I did a cache flush. Let's do a refresh again. There it goes. All right, so clearly it grabbed the database and we've got some weird references. Images aren't showing up. Why? I don't know. Let's see. So the image doesn't look like the image is actually showing up. Let's see. See if the file forbidden. Let's hit, I might have to do a fix file permissions. And I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Reset file permissions on web server. I forget what the command is. Here we go. Basically, we need to run this command. Not very thorough. Let me do this. There's actually two commands here. How to reset file permissions. You know what? I'm just going to type in this because this is a good command. But there's a second command. This one is specifying directories, and we need to make sure we get all files too. So there's a million different ways to do this. That's what I'm looking for. So these two commands here are super important. Thank you, whoever that was. I'm going to run those two in the root. And then I'm going to hit enter here. So let me show you what these are. So it's finding, so this find in this directory and beyond, the type is a directory, and then you want to run the command change mod 0755. So that's targeting directories, and they're setting them to the right permission. And then the second command here, it's finding files. The type is F, and it's telling to execute this change mod to 0644. So those are the correct permissions for directories and then files in WordPress. So now, or not really WordPress, just web hosting in general. So now when I hit refresh, boom. Yep, so it just didn't have, the website did not have permission to access the files because when I unzipped that file and dumped them into the directory, the permissions weren't right. But now it's working. So that's how I do a migration. And I've done probably people kind of laugh at me when I say how many sites I've migrated, but because I was heavily involved in 48 and 48, where we would build 48 websites for 48 nonprofits in 48 hours, we I mean, one year we did, I think we had 8 events. So 8 times 48, and we did all of those migrations. You know, I'm in the thousands range on how many sites I've migrated. So I'm pretty fast about it. But that's how I SSH into a server and migrate a site. If you guys have questions, comments, let me know. I'm curious how other people handle these migrations. I'm not a huge fan of the migration plugins that are out there because, to be honest, they're just slow. The fastest migration I've ever done is like 6 minutes. And one time I migrated 4 websites all on the same server, and I was able to migrate 4 websites in 31 minutes, which is pretty solid. You know, once you know these commands here, and once you understand the command line tools that are applicable, it makes it migrations just real easy. So thank you. Hope you appreciate it. See you.